Since I started watching the NFL after Super Bowl 49, there was one player who I never really understood or even knew the backstory of until just a few years into my NFL nerd life. Alex Smith, who is currently on the Washington football team, has had a crazy career up to this point, and today, I want to dive into how his career has gone and the story of how he became the Alex Smith that we all know nowadays. Alex Smith went to the University of Utah, where he would excel, as in his final season, he became a first-team All-American. He was the MWC Offensive Player of the Year while throwing for 2,952 yards, 32 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions. He was at the top of the rankings in yards per attempt with 9.3. Going into that 2005 draft, the San Francisco 49ers had the first overall pick after a roller coaster 2004 season. Jeff Garcia went to the Browns in the 2003 offseason, as well as Terrell Owens and Garrison Hurst leaving the team. So the offense really had no weapons on it. Their quarterbacks Tim Rattay and Ken Dorsey were awful, and the team went an astonishing 2-14, giving them the first overall pick in the 2005 draft. The 49ers had two options at number 1, Alex Smith or Aaron Rodgers. As we all know, the 49ers selected Alex Smith out of the University of Utah with that pick, and he was set in stone to become San Francisco's franchise quarterback. At least, that's what everyone thought. His rookie season in 2005 did not go as planned, to say the least. But hey, if you thought 1 touchdown to 11 receptions was the plan, good for you, man, because you predicted his rookie season. But seriously, he was awful. He was awful. No other word to say it. And this trend continued for years to come. For Alex, it got so bad that the fans started to hate him. They would boo him constantly. Mentally, he probably was not okay. He was missing throws constantly, and a completion percentage of 55.56 as an average over his first 5 seasons. He only played 16 games once during those first 5 years. His career high in yards was 2,890 and 18 touchdowns. Abysmal numbers for a first overall pick. It got so bad, fans wanted David Carr. Let me say that again for the people who didn't hear me. David Carr to sub in for him. And that specific instance happened during the 2010 season, 5 years after he was drafted. You have to be awful for your fans to want David Carr to come in for you at quarterback. This time, imagine how stupid the 49ers front office must have felt to take Alex Smith, who is the quarterback that the fans wanted David Carr to replace. I know I keep bringing it up, but David Carr was so bad, the fact that you wanted him to replace Alex Smith just shows how bad you played over a player like Aaron Rodgers, who came from Cal and was clearly the better quarterback at this point. However, Smith never really had any help in those seasons and was part of a horribly ran franchise while Rodgers got to sit behind Hall of Famer Brett Favre for a couple years and learn from one of the best to do it at the quarterback position. So to say that Alex Smith's first 5 seasons were completely his fault is kinda a hot take, but also not really. But he should have played better, especially with the expectations he had going to San Francisco. If that were me, hearing everything being said about me and playing that bad would just tear me apart. And it did to him. His family wanted him out of San Francisco, as clearly it was not a good fit there, game plan wise and mentally as well. However, the 49ers fired their head coach Mike Singletary after the 2010 season and brought in rookie coach Jim Harbaugh. The hiring of Jim Harbaugh caused Alex Smith's career to take a complete 180. That 2011 season, the first year together, Harbaugh decided to keep Smith as a starter, which at the time was a very controversial decision to say the least, and nobody was happy with it. But boy, were the doubters wrong. Although statistically it may not seem like a great season, the 49ers went 13-3, with Smith throwing for 3,144 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions, leading them to the 2nd seed, giving them a wild card bye. In that wild card round, the 3rd-seeded Saints beat the Lions 45-28, en route to playing the 49ers in the divisional round. Drew Brees vs. Alex Smith. A crazy headline going into the week, and to say it lived up to the hype was an understatement. It was a shootout the whole game, and with 2 minutes 11 seconds left, down 24-23, the 49ers scored and went up 29-24, but missed the 2-point conversion. There was still a lot of time left on the clock, and Drew Brees took advantage of this, throwing a touchdown to Jimmy Graham, converting the 2-point conversion to Darren Sproles. But if Alex Smith had anything to say about this, he was not going to let that dream season end like that. The 49ers got the ball back and drove down the field with ease by way of multiple great throws by Alex and tight coverage to Vernon Davis, who got a 14-yard touchdown with 10 seconds left, winning the game for the 49ers with a final score of 36-32. Alex finished that game with 299 yards and 3 touchdowns, along with 1 rush for 28 yards and a score. Probably Alex Smith's best game due to how clutch he played and the amount of tight throws he made. This was the season and the game that ended the Ryan Leaf bust comparisons. Smith was living his best life. However, the next week the 49ers would lose to Eli Manning the Giants in the NFC Championship game. Their dream season would come to an end prematurely. But to say this season was a disappointment is foolishness. The 49ers finally saw the player that they drafted number 1 overall to be their franchise quarterback live up to the hype. The 2012 season saw the 49ers as contenders, potential favorites to come out of the NFC. Alex Smith was on pace to have career highs in every single statistical category, and they were 6-2 through the first 8 games. In Week 10, playing the Rams, Alex Smith's season came to an end on a run where Joe Lund Dunbar concussed him, and in comes second-year quarterback Colin Kaepernick. Kaepernick had started during every game that Smith was injured, and even after Smith was cleared, Harbaugh chose to keep Kaepernick in to start for 2 reasons: to not rush Alex back, and because Colin Kaepernick fit Harbaugh's offensive scheme more than Alex Smith did. As a dual-threat quarterback who could do whatever he wanted on any play, who wouldn't want that? Colin would finish the last 7 games 5-2, and 49ers finished season 11-4-1, as the one game that Colin Kaepernick stepped in, they tied. As we all know, Smith would never play again for the 49ers that season, and San Fran went on to lose in the Super Bowl to Harbaugh's brother, John, and his Ravens. After this season, the 49ers had an easy decision to make, at least in their eyes: Alex Smith or Colin Kaepernick, and clearly, they chose Colin. Alex Smith was traded to Kansas City, and he played really well for them. He made 3 Pro Bowls from 2013 to 2017, led the league in pass rating in 2017, and he also threw for 17,608 yards, 102 touchdowns, and 33 picks while going 15-26 as their starter in those seasons. He made the playoffs in 4 out of the 5 of the years, but only won 1 playoff game out of the 5 he played in. And during the 2014 season, he threw for 18 touchdowns, and none of them were to a wide receiver. That's just a crazy stat. Now, they didn't have great wide receivers, as Dwayne Bowe was their number 1 receiver. That still is something that will most likely never happen ever again. After the 2016 season, the Chiefs trade up in the 2017 NFL Draft from pick 27 to pick 10 and selected quarterback Patrick Mahomes out of Texas Tech. Mahomes saw 1 game where he started in Week 17 during his rookie season, in which he won. The Chiefs finished season 10-6 and lost in the first round of the playoffs to the Titans 22-21, a game in which Marcus Mariota, of all people, threw a touchdown to himself. Very unfortunate for Alex Smith and the Chiefs. And that fortune, or lack of good fortune for Alex Smith, continued. After that 2017 season, the Chiefs traded Alex Smith to the, at the time, Washington Redskins. Heartbreaking for Smith, as he had played the best football of his career with the Chiefs, and to see them move on from him must have been weird for everyone in Kansas City. But we all know how that turned out for the Chiefs. As in Mahomes' second year, he threw for 50 touchdowns en route to an MVP season, in which they would lose in the conference championship, and then win the Super Bowl the year after, in the 2019-20 NFL season. But for Smith, he wouldn't have the same luck. He would start the 2018-2019 season with the Redskins 6-3, and it looked like the Alex Smith effect was real, as the season prior they went 7-9. But now, they looked like a playoff team in the NFC. However, as we all know, it did not end that way. November 18th, 2018, Week 11 of that season, the Redskins played the Houston Texans. With 7 minutes 56 seconds left on the clock in the third quarter, down 17-7, Alex hiked the ball, and pressure came in quickly from a blitz right down the middle from Kareem Jackson, and J.J. Watt rushing off the edge. Both sacked Smith, and Alex Smith went down. He suffered a compound fracture in his right tibia and fibula, and that injury nearly cost him his leg after it was severely infected, and allegedly almost his life. He had to have 17 surgeries to make sure his leg would not have to be amputated, and at one point his right leg was basically just bones with barely any skin on it. It was one of the most disgusting injuries I've ever seen live, well, on NFL Red Zone, but still. The fact that he can walk and has both legs is incredible, and everyone is thankful that he got out of it with his right leg intact. Since that day, Smith has not even seen the practice field for the now Washington football team, and nobody had the thought that he would be able to play again for a split second. However, on August 15th, 2020, Alex Smith was cleared for an NFL return, 21 months after the injury. To say this is a blessing is the least you can say about it. Imagine breaking your leg, nearly losing it, and maybe your life, then just 20 months later, be cleared to play NFL-level football. That is something we will never see again. The Alex Smith story is one of the craziest and most heartfelt stories of all time. From going from a number 1 overall pick bust compared to Ryan Leaf, getting booed at religiously at games, to being a starter on near Super Bowl winning team, to losing his job the next season, then traded to the Chiefs and excelled, then traded to the Redskins where he broke his entire right leg and now coming back to an NFL field this season. Saying that, I do not think he will start, but I think he will get the Teddy Bridgewater treatment and come in at the end of a game for a drive and have the whole crowd cheer for him. Oh wait, thank you, Corona. All jokes aside, I'm very happy for Alex Smith and his family. Wish him the best of luck in the NFL and life as a whole. As an NFL fan, I cannot wait to see what the NFL has in store for Alex Smith in the years to come. With that being said, that is it for me, guys. Thank you for tuning into Fanatic Sports. Hope you all liked the video. If you did, please subscribe and hit the like button. It only takes 2 seconds. Also, follow me on Instagram at FanaticSports25 and on Twitter at FanaticSports. Now, before I go, what is the best NFL story you have ever experienced?